Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Later on in the show there'll be travel news, including some new services that Ryanair are saying they're going to be rolling out. But first, the destination of the week. Was you one of the people who was staying up late to watch the Masters Golf on TV a few days ago? I wasn't. I'm not really a golf fan, but it can be very exciting, especially somebody from your home country wins. Well, the subject of this week's show is Minnesota, which is where the Ryder Cup is going to be held later on in the year. My guest is John Edman, he's director at Explore Minnesota, and we're going to be talking about the various bits and pieces that the state has to offer a visitor from the UK. And I suppose the best place to start, which is where I always start, I want to find out where the place is.
Well, Minnesota is in the northern central part of the United States. We border with Canada. We're the headwaters of the Mississippi River, in between Wisconsin and Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. So, kind of gives people an idea. We're kind of in the center of the country.
So, how would we get there from the UK?
Well, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of direct flights from the UK to Minnesota on a wide variety of airlines, from Delta and KLM, Air France, etc., with the direct connections. We're so fortunate here in Minnesota that we have so many different direct connections to countries all throughout the world, as well as through a lot of other airlines with one-stop connections to pretty much everywhere in the world. So
how long does it take to get to you from the UK?
Well, a direct flight will take you about 8 hours total, which I've taken that flight many times, and compared to some of the flights I've taken to Asia and the like, it's actually quite a reasonable length of time.
Yep, that's not too bad.
No.
I'm guessing where you're based, you have a wide range of temperatures throughout the year. What's the coldest you get in the winter, and what's the average in the summer?
Well, one of the nice things about living in Minnesota is you have 4 seasons, and the weather is always changing. Right now we're in the spring-summer season, transitioning to our summer, and our summer temperatures, compared to a lot of places throughout the world, and particularly in the southern United States, they're very moderate, about 70 to 80 degrees. Winters probably average, around 20 degrees, depending on what month you're talking about. We have a few nights that may dip lower than that, but that kind of adds to the luster of the 4-season destination with the beautiful winters we have, the transition to spring, great, cool, warm summers, as well as beautiful falls. So we just love living in this state because of the change in temperatures.
Yeah, over here it's beginning to we've only got 2 seasons now. It's either wet or it's sunny for a day. Doesn't seem to be anything in between. When I have guests on, I always mention food and drink. It's because I'm very interested in food and drink. Is there a state dish and a state drink for Minnesota?
Yes. Well, I suppose there are a lot of things that are unique. When you ask me that question, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One, in terms of a food item, it's a fish. It's a fish called the walleye, and I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's sort of the preferred fish that comes from Minnesota, and our Minnesota water is very light, delicate fish. Something that's really well known, as well as wild rice here in Minnesota. And in terms of drink, one of the things that comes to mind is craft beer. We just have we're one of the top cities or top states in the country for the number of different craft breweries. So if people are looking for, I know a lot of times people maybe across the pond think of the United States as not having the kind of beverages and the beer that you have in the UK, which I dearly love, but boy, we are really growing in the unique little craft beers and unique flavors that we have here in Minnesota. So when you come here, you should have one of our craft beers.
I'm thinking about booking my ticket already now you said that.
Hey Dave, it's your round, mate.
Yeah, my throat's drier than the Gobi Desert.
All right, beers all round, yeah? Okay, which one of you jokers has got my wallet?
Well, I haven't got it. God, he'll do anything to save a few quid.
Yeah, that's right. He's always had short arms and long pockets.
Seriously, guys, someone's nicked it from my bag.
If you lose your wallet, passport or tickets while you're on holiday, your mates winding you up will be the least of your worries. Keep your valuable stuff locked up safely when you don't need it. And if you're on the beach or by the pool, only take the cash you need.
For more information, go to gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo or follow us on Facebook or Twitter.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come, travel news, including a story about Ryanair and an airport which is going to be getting an additional runway, unlike the ones at London, apparently. Well, that's the way it seems at the minute. I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. But I'm a bit bored of the conversation at Gatwick or Heathrow. I don't know about you. I just wish they'd make their minds up and just go for it. But never mind. The Travel News has a story about an airport which will be having an additional runway built. A few weeks ago, Explore Minnesota, who represents the tourist industry in Minnesota, released an infographic about 21 reasons why you should visit the state for your holiday. We're now going to go through these with John Edman, who's the director at Explore Minnesota. And the first ones we're going to cover are the 5 reasons they gave for visiting the state in spring.
Well, right now we're in the spring time of the year, and there's a lot of things we can do. One of the things that I love to do is riding our thousands of miles, nearly 4,000 miles of paved bike trails. We have, people might not be surprised about this, but we have many different wineries here in Minnesota you can visit. 100 different breweries, which I already mentioned. Mm-hmm. Golf course. I've already been out golfing twice this year. People in Minnesota are real avid golfers. They love to get out when the weather is great. We have courses of incredible quality and value compared to a lot of courses throughout the country. And there's many different hotels, resorts, and I guess we had on our list 100 different bed and breakfasts for unique lodging opportunities in every corner of the state.
Yeah, bed and breakfast is something people are beginning to overlook. They should spend more time there, as far as I can see, instead of the big resorts.
It's very unique. It's one of those kind of ways to discover an area that you can actually kind of see how people live, and you can see inside the homes, but you can have that quaint, unique lodging opportunity that you may not get in some other lodging alternatives.
You said you've already been out to play golf twice. How many golf courses do you have, and are they easy for visitors to go to, or some closed up?
No, actually, there's over 500 different golf courses in the state, and those are all public golf courses, and there's private golf courses as well, of all sorts of different qualities. From the beginner to the experienced golfer. We have a lot of golfing opportunities here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area where I'm living, golfing opportunities around the lakes in northern Minnesota and the prairies and the rivers in southern Minnesota. Really a great chance to see Minnesota natural resources, wildlife, and still try to hit that little ball around into the little hole. And sometimes, when I golf, you get frustrated, but you just step back and you look at where you are, and it's incredibly relaxing to be golfing with such different topography that we have here in Minnesota.
I always get frustrated playing golf because the clubs are always too short, as far as I can see. In the ball, they just miss the ball all the time. It's nothing. It's not down to me. It's the clubs, honest.
It must be it could be the club, could be the topography, but boy, you come here, I guarantee you have a good time. Okay.
You already said that you got many paved bike trails. Where would be the best place in the state to have a cycle around? Well, it kind of depends on what a person's interested in. One of the things that's neat about Minnesota is its incredible diversity, diversity of topography. You can bike around the lakes here in Minneapolis if you want just an incredible experience. If you want an urban experience, lakes right here in town. You could go up northern Minnesota. You can golf Paul Bunyan Trail. You can bike along the Lake Superior. And in southern Minnesota, we have many bike trails along rivers, the Cannon River, the Mississippi River, and biking through prairies and agriculture areas in the south. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But boy, you'll never get tired of the different bike trails that we have in Minnesota. I'm getting a bit tired listening to how far they cover. Well, you don't have to go far. You could do the little day trips, and then you can stop and have one of your favorite craft beers when you get tired. You also gave 5 reasons for visiting in the summer. What were they?
Well, I think what we listed is 18,000 miles of fishable, or 18,000 fishable rivers in Minnesota. We have lakes, incredible amount of lakes. They say 10,000 lakes on our license plates, but actually it's 11,842. We have recreational boats, boating of all time. We have campgrounds, 760 different campgrounds, and hundreds of resorts in Minnesota, as well as indoor as well as outdoor water parks. There's just so much fun things to do in the summer, and Minnesotans just love to get outside. They love to interact with our natural resources and our lakes. And whether you're fishing, whether you're boating, whether you're sailing, there's just so many different things you can do on the water in Minnesota during the summertime.
11,842 lakes. That's a large number. Are you counting little ponds, or are they really?
No, we're not. Probably be a bigger number if you're counting the ponds. But these are all natural lakes. Basically created when the glaciers retreated here in Minnesota, left beautiful lakes. There's just so many different lakes of so many different sizes. I mean, there's lakes that you can canoe across. There's lakes that you can sail. There's lakes that you can't even see the other side, that they're so large. Great fishing lakes, great recreational opportunities of all kinds. Just a lot of lakes in Minnesota, and no, they're not all there. That doesn't count the ponds.
Okay.
It'd be a bigger number if we did.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at holiday_hut. Just before the jingle, we were talking to John Edman, Director Explore Minnesota, about the many lakes they have in the state, 11,842. We're now going to find out which is the most popular one to visit, if John can say that, being a tourism director. And then we're going to find out more about the summer life in Minnesota.
Well, as the state tourism director, it's kind of hard for me to single one out per se. But again, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I mean, to be honest, there are popular lake destinations in an area called Brainerd, Minnesota. People love because it's relatively close, a couple hours from Minneapolis, St. Paul. There's incredible lakes up in the northeastern part of the state. The Boundary Waters Canoe Area, which is actually one thing that's I love doing. It's incredibly unique. You can only get into it's a national forest campgrounds area where you can only get around from lake to lake on a canoe. You can't bring in motor